What is up, guys? Rick Hackis here, and today a huge update hit Destiny, and with it came the 2.4 weapon balance patch, which is initiating a lot of changes. Now, there was an absolutely massive information dump today because finally the patch notes for these changes have been released, and instead of going over all of those changes in one 50-minute long video, I've decided to break it up into different sections for your guys' convenience so you can watch the different sections on your own time. I've already done a video on the buffs and nerfs coming to the exotic weapons with this patch. Definitely recommend watching that if you haven't already. There's some interesting stuff coming up there. Definitely going to be some weapons that aren't being utilized now going to be utilized in the future. But in today's video, I really want to focus on the changes to perks coming with patch 2.4. Now, normally there wouldn't be worth making an entire video on this, but thankfully this time around there has been substantial changes to the perks coming with this patch, and it will definitely impact the Destiny meta. Now, some of you may be wondering, well, when exactly are these changes being initiated? And I've got to be honest, I don't exactly know. There was an official quote from Bungie at Gamescom saying that there wouldn't be weapon rebalancing in this patch. Clearly there is. Game Informer officially reported that these changes will be initiated when the Rise of Iron comes out on September 20th, and then there's more sources saying that these changes will be initiated today. So honestly, Bungie, kind of as usual, hasn't been the greatest at communicating, but just know that these changes are the official changes, so they will be happening, and they will be happening soon. So with that being said, let's get started. Now, one of the most awesome things coming to Destiny with patch 2.4 is that the underused perks are finally getting remade. Now, we all know that some perks in the game just see almost no play and are basically useless. All they do is to serve to make your weapons worse. Perks like Exhumed, Guerrilla Fighter, etc. I say we all know, but there's always one or two people arguing in the comment section that Guerrilla Fighter is somehow amazing. I don't know exactly what they've been drinking, but in any event, Bungie has realized this as well, and finally, it's actually gone back and remade some of these extremely underused perks. Thank goodness they've done this, because remaking a perk that basically no one is using is essentially like adding an entirely new perk. And if it's updated well enough and actually becomes a desirable perk that people are going after, that is absolutely awesome for the meta and for changing up gameplay. I needed to say this because I really hope that Bungie continues to do this, keeps updating the underused perks so we actually get some variety in the game. Now, let's get on to what perks were updated. Firstly, Take a Knee. Take a Knee was a perk that when you crouched, it increased accuracy. However, there's been some pretty substantial changes now. It now activates after only half a second, 0.5 seconds of crouching. Additionally, there's more bonuses rather than just an increased accuracy. Firstly, there is an added flinch reduction of 25%, and secondly, there is an increased aim down sight speed by 25%. So, after crouching for half a second, you're going to get increased accuracy, increased flinch reduction, and increased aim down sight speed. Pretty darn useful. We'll have to see if this warps the meta, because of course, crouching and lowering your mobility in such a mobility-based game like Destiny might not be the greatest idea. Next, Exhumed was also updated. Now, the Exhumed perk gives you increased range and handling for a short time after your revival. This time has been increased by 5 seconds, from 10 seconds to 15 seconds after you're revived. Unfortunately, I don't believe that this is a big enough change for Exhumed to actually be sought after and to see play. It needs a much bigger buff than this in order to actually be a competitive perk. Next, we have a change to Cascade. Now, before, when you could get a melee kill with Cascade, it would increase your reload speed by 150%. Massive increase to reload speed, so you get a kill with your melee and then you just reload instantly. Now, this was really not used basically at all, and it has been changed in its functionality. Now, when you get a melee kill with the Cascade perk, it's going to automatically reload a portion of the magazine. So if you're at only one bullet in your sniper rifle, you get a melee kill, it's going to reload automatically a few bullets and get that magazine topped off, which is definitely more useful. It's also, of course, going to give you the ability to empty your entire magazine, melee kill an enemy, and then get more ammo in that magazine and engage the next enemy after that, whereas before you'd have to stick to reloading, and often it would get you killed. It remains to be seen whether or not this is a big enough change for Cascade to actually be sought after, but this is a substantial improvement, I believe. Now after that, we actually have a huge change incoming. I actually think this is going to be a new top tier perk that people are going to want to go after, and it is the change to the surplus perk. Now before, surplus was a decent perk that you could get for your heavy weapons, for your special weapons, and what it would do is that it would increase the ammo that you gained when you picked up ammo from the ground. Now this has been, again, massively overhauled with a simple addition. Surplus now increases carried ammo capacity, so it increases your reserve ammo, which is huge for heavy weapons, especially rocket launchers, for sniper rifles, for shotguns, for fusion rifles, all of that stuff. Surplus is now become a top tier perk that people are going to be looking for. Like, that's actually pretty huge to have more reserve ammo for all of that stuff. I'm sure year 1 players will remember Field Scout and how good that was. Well, Surplus is basically the new Field Scout. Next, we have a change to Grave Robber, which is kind of funny because Grave Robber, what it does is that melee kills with the weapon that has Grave Robber have a chance to refill the magazine. It was a 20% chance. This has actually been increased with patch 2.4 to 25%. So you're going to have a 25% chance to refill your magazine upon a melee kill, which again is kind of funny because Cascade was updated to basically do this exact same thing. However, it only reloads a portion of the magazine, and it does this 100% of the time. So I don't think the Grave Robber buff is going to be enough to compete with Cascade. If you want that effect, getting it again 100% of the time seems more useful than getting it 25% of the time, even if you are reloading your entire magazine. We'll have to see though. Maybe the buff to Grave Robber is enough to kind of put it into a semi-competitive level. And lastly, the infamous trash perk Guerrilla Fighter has finally been updated. Now it increases stability and range by 200%. Essentially, it's hammer forged and perfect balance added to your gun when you're behind cover. Now, is this enough to actually make this perk usable? We'll have to see. I'm kind of, shifting towards probably not, because no one really plays like that. But if you are someone who actually does aim out of cover to kill enemies, you just got a huge bonus. Now again, we'll really just have to wait and see, if any of these changes actually make these perks more desirable and utilized more. The only one that I think is definitely going to see more play is Surplus. That's become a lot better, but the rest, I'm not sure about. However, regardless of all that, it's fantastic that Bungie is doing this, and hopefully in every patch now, they'll look back at the least utilized perks and, give them updates, try to make them competitive. Now moving on, there's actually been more perks that have been updated with patch 2.4, mainly the ammo type rounds. So armor piercing rounds, high caliber rounds, and skip rounds have all been updated. Now firstly, some of these were showing an increase to damage just to represent, what they did, but it never actually increased damage, so this has been taken away. Now that's not a nerf, it's just a user interface change. Now all of these perks will still retain their original abilities. Armor piercing rounds will let you shoot through multiple enemies, high caliber rounds will increase the stagger caused to opponents, and skip rounds will increase the chance for a bullet to ricochet. However, there has been changes in what statistics they will increase and decrease on your weapons. For armor piercing rounds, this will also now add +4 to your weapon's range, but reduce handling by -4. High caliber rounds adds +3 to range, but reduces handling by -5. And skip rounds actually add +5 to range, reduces handling by -3, and adds +5 to inventory. So now actually, because these perks give bonuses to range, especially skip rounds with +5, these may become kind of perks people are looking for if they have a weapon that they want to extend the range with. Pretty interesting change to Destiny. Again, we're going to have to see if this pans out. Now, there was one perk nerf that did come with this update, and that is a nerf to Unflinching. Decreased efficiency of the perk from 25% to 15% flinch reduction. Now, why was this nerfed? Honestly, I don't think it should have been, but the reason given was because this patch also kind of nerfed sniper rifles, causing more flinch when you actually shoot someone who's scoped in with a sniper sniper, and if you had the Unflinching perk, it would basically negate these changes, so they wanted these changes to like for sure be applied, so they nerfed Unflinching, I guess. Again, I'm not a huge fan of this. I would have left Unflinching the way it was, because Unflinching, because of this nerf, would have become a lot more useful, a lot more desirable. People would be going for it. So I think that would have actually been a pretty cool aspect of the game. And the absolute last thing is that the Firefly perk has been slightly changed so that it won't crash your game, hopefully, when it activates. And that is it for all of the different perks that are being changed with patch 2.4. I hope you guys enjoyed and found this informative. Now if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you want to see more Destiny content from me, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter. That's linked in the description down below at RickCacus, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day. The purpose of this guide is to best ease your transition into the new Rise of Iron expansion and to get you ready as quickly as possible for the new Wrath of the Machine raid coming out September 23rd.